Hello and welcome back everyone to the English coverage of the Chinese LPL. We're right into the second game here between Gamtee and LGD and EDG. A very well put together comp and a eventual nice looking win.
Yeah, they got there in the end and it was a little bit later than they would have hoped to, actually dragging it out to roughly 50 minutes against a Kog'Maw and a Mundo, but hey, you get the W, I guess.
Yeah, the Five Dragons definitely helping. I think confident in their control there, but Gamtee actually going to ban themselves out, kind of. Annie banned again against Mako. Nidalee banned there against Clearlove this time. Didn't think I'd ever be saying that. But Kog'Maw banned on the blue side by Gamtee.
Yeah, so not wanting to play it and I guess respecting Def's proficiency on all ADs, they apparently think that's the strongest at the moment, so they're taking it away.
Yep, and Lissandra, Rek'Sai, the two bans there for EDG, which makes sense. Looks like they might have lost a ban there, as we already have picks coming through. LeBlanc actually first pick there for Xiaohu.
Yeah, so it could be the skill matchup between LeBlanc and Ari that we've seen so much of lately.
Or it could be Pawn's crazy new champion. Whatever that is today.
He can play whatever he likes.
He can. I'm waiting for him to play whatever he likes, in fact. We had some good ones yesterday. I wonder what he wants to do today, but we might just keep it standard for the first few picks.
Certainly hope not.
I mean, if EDG were ever going to play something super serious, probably in a second game, they don't really need the points again. They'd love the wins, but we'll just give them a chance. Koro is frantically mashing the random button, but settle on something a bit boring, unfortunately. Maokai Lee Sin again.
Yeah, obviously can't hear us over the ocean, but Maokai Lee Sin, that's 2 power picks coming through actually for EDG. Want to see what the response to the tank is, because Maokai seems to be, at the moment at least, heads and shoulders above the other top lane tank.
Yeah, and just such a strong pick and such a common first pick again this weekend. I mean, Maokai's great. I can understand why. He fits in with a lot of mid-game comps. He's super tanky, even if it does go later. It's not Mundo, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, it certainly is, and he's got the hard CC that Mundo lacks, which is just so good. That flash twisted advance, important on locking down key carries, and you think that if Gamtee maybe had some initiation last game, they might have been able to do a little bit better. A lot of their team fight relied on Kite, and that man who is hovering Lucian right now tore them apart. He
did, as we have Jarvan and Leona there, the picks for Gamtee. So nice aggressive call for what's looking now like a pretty good pick comp, at least from the first few picks. But EDG going to go through their next few as well. And Pawn, they might give him last pick here. I wonder what he has cooking.
Yeah, I hope it is something special as we see Def going back to the Ezreal potentially. Looks like they have settled on the Thresh for Mako, although could swap over at any point. His Janna was beautiful, and it is the Thresh being locked in, and a potential hyper carry coming out. Nope.
Well, kind of. I mean, Lucian's a great late game carry. Not a hyper carry strictly, but strong in the late game. So Def going to go back on Lucian. I like Mako here in the Thresh as well. Could have picked the Janna, but maybe feels a bit unsafe into Leona.
Yeah, it certainly is a rough lane, at least. As soon as it hits level 6, you're in a lot of danger, whereas Thresh kind of does the same thing, but a lot tankier coming through. I was going to say, it's interesting that Def didn't show a Corki here because, of course, Teo loves to play that one. And they've gone for a big Wombo combo team fight here if that is the last 2 picks they want to lock in. Although a lot of magical damage coming through. I like the fact that they've changed that to a Hecarim because he'll balance that out with some good AD. Although now they've changed to Graves, so it doesn't really matter.
So will Teo. Graves, Hecarim, they're the last 2 picks. Just giving you a hard time there, Spawn. And yeah, they'll round it out. Lots of good pick potential. Good AoE, good lockdown, great early game, mid game damage. Gamtee have one plan. Get ahead early and snowball the game.
Yeah, that's exactly what they want to do. They want to push the top lane because they feel like they have the mismatch against the Maokai, and the Leona Graves lane, that just has kill pressure written everywhere.
Yeah, it does here. I mean, even against Lucian is very slippery. I think I like the Lucian the Graves instead of Corki into Lucian. There we go. Finally got it out. And Pawn, give him a couple seconds of silence here because he might have something special cooked up again.
Yeah. It probably will be the Lux, because that is a pseudo counter pick. Shoutouts to Papa Smithy, who points this one out every time LeBlanc is locked in the LPL.
Yeah.
But it is a very good lane matchup. Lux deals with it extremely well, has great pick potential in her own right, and farms up a complete storm to the point where Ultimate is on like, what, a 30-second cooldown late game?
I mean, Pawn's Lux is fantastic. It was one of the first times he kind of played a Pawn champion, I'm going to call it, where he just kind of did something funky because he just loves to go off the rails sometimes. Looked great against, I think, Dada's LeBlanc actually that game, so is a pick that he's comfortable with. I assume that's the mid lane matchup we're seeing, and always good to see Pawn play Lux.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Lux is that, I guess, she's the original control mage coming through, gives a lot of shields, has that big AoE slow, and then the long-range ultimate can trim waves, can use it to completely obliterate people late game. It really is a very different champion. I'm not going to say that anyone in the current meta fits what Lux kind of does, but still strong in her own right.
Yeah, and Pawn, again, just shows so much success on every champion he touches. That's, I think, the craziest thing for me. EDG seem to be playing a bit more standard this game. They've actually had a lot of respect for Gamtee, maybe just thinking, these are points we should get. We should just get these points and, not maybe mess around like we did yesterday with, thanks, Clearlove's Evelyn. He's back on Lee Sin. It's his most successful jungler, crazily enough. He's, I think, 7 or 8 currently and looking to still be undefeated.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think it is about that KDA. He wants to bump it back up above 10 because he let it slip a little bit, but the Nidalee game would have helped out, and I'm sure the Lee Sin game will be in a similar direction. I definitely agree about Pawn's champion pool. It keeps you guessing so much. Going into playoffs, teams have no idea what he actually wants to play.
No, I mean, I think Ari was open this time. He didn't want to take it. Could have had that skill matchup against LeBlanc. Would rather take, I guess, his counter matchup here in the Lux. Not sure how hard of a counter it is, if even at all, but Pawn seems confident, and I'll trust him.
Yeah, well, Pawn and Papa Smithy are confident. We can remain doubters on the desk here because I'm also of a similar opinion. Very immobile. She has the ability, I guess, when the LeBlanc jumps in to just turn around and blow her up. I definitely respect that. But when you're throwing all the CC from Huey, let me the ability to be able to also roam down and create ganks. I think she is still a little bit immobile in a very mobile meta.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how she does. I mean, she's got so much good CC that if she can control all of these heavy engages, and Gamtee have a lot of heavy engage on their team, the pick is really nice. Actually, like his summoner spell choice especially. Looks to be going for a heal, which, obviously being safe in the lane's great, but even the added mobility just for your team's enough.
Yeah, and that's the thing where you take heal over barrier, of course. If you get it down early enough, it doesn't really matter because of the ignite, and it allows you to reposition around the team fight. It's so crucial with Lux to be able to reposition quickly, continue to get your shields out, continue to throw out all the AoE damage that you are so capable of. But in saying that, Sync Dreams has a clear goal this game. Throw the Solar Flare at Lux.
Yeah, just get her dead, lose all that control, and use the rest of your engage. You got plenty of it to get on top of EDG and just start rolling over them in mid-game team fights.
Yeah, exactly right. And in a 2-damage threat, Lee Sin not going to do the same amount of damage as what Nidalee was last game. It really is up to the support to get that done.
Yeah, so go through the matchups real quick. Let me hear with the Hecarim. Going to be farming very comfortably against Korra's Maokai, but Korra very learned on this matchup for sure.
Yeah, it certainly is. And we see the Jarvan versus the Lee Sin. Jarvan falling a little bit out of favor, but Clearlove loves the Lee Sin.
Yeah, and there's Xiaohu's LeBlanc versus Pawn's Lux as well. We'll see how that goes, of course. Pawn has good tools, but LeBlanc's a very scary mid laner. Tail here with the Graves versus Death Solution. Quite aggressive there. And the support, lots of engage.
Yeah, so much engage from both sides. A little bit more peel out of Mako, but the burst damage from Leona will be something to note.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty explosive game, so let's get straight into it. And welcome onto the Rift here for our second game between Edward Gaming and Gamtee. EDG are up a game here, and Clearlove's Lee Sin has come out to play again.
Yeah, it certainly has. Streaming onto the Rift. Undefeated currently. Looking to bring it out, and he's gone with a pretty impressive skin as well. I like to sport that one myself.
Kicks Huey in the face there as well with the Sonic Wave, so we'll have Jarvan have a bit of a giggle back and forth as the junglers just kind of checking each other out. Pawn, by the way, did swap to cleanse, so wants to stay safe. I think it's a very sensible choice. Heal's fine, but just wants to be extra careful and, like you said, extra mobile.
Yeah, exactly right. Wants to be able to reposition. That really is the key out of Pawn here, and we'll see if he can make it work because, as I said, the laning phase... Ooh.
Flash shoots at advance actually onto Let Me. Hook lands immediately. Clearlove comes in, and Lux gets first blood.
And I was waiting for a team to do this against the Hecarim. You used to get punished for taking Ghost in the top lane because you couldn't flash away from that. It's just so easy to play around Fog of War, flash onto the Hecarim and kill him for first blood because he doesn't have that escape summoner.
Yeah, and that's a very confident usage of spells by Koro. Skilled his W level 1 and flash, but knew that his team was able to secure the kill. Only cost him his one summoner. Let Me, of course, didn't use either, but a first kill does go to the Lux here.
Yeah, so Lux going to go back and pick up a bottle and a Doran's ring. She's going to be extremely well off in this lane. And we see the lane swap coming through, so dodging the Leona Graves. We see this a lot against Hecarim because he doesn't perform as well as the Maokai in the 2v1.
No, and the other big issue is that he just doesn't get farm. And if he wants to go Trinity Force and go the big carry build, it takes him so long to get there.
Yeah, it certainly does. And he just doesn't have, I guess, the CC to be able to go toe-to-toe with the Maokai without some damage in there. So we see Very, very standard starts coming through as Clearlove whiffs the Q, but that's not going to really matter. And Koro's starting up the Raptor camp already.
It's a little awkward to do this with like your saplings, but Clearlove will join him in there and help him say, hey, buddy, this is how you actually juggle the camp. He's teaching Koro. They're working through it together.
Yeah, exactly right. And buddy system always employed. Do not go anywhere without a friend.
Yep. Clearlove is a very strong friend to his teammates as well. Actually, hasn't paid that much attention to Def recently. I'm sure he's missing him a bit, but we'll follow around. Looks like Let Me doing the same on the Hecarim makes sense here. And Pawn already level 2 from a bit of extra experience. And I have to say, I'm surprised that Pawn went the aggressive Dawn's Ring choice. You would normally go bottle against LeBlanc just because the Flask is so good and it's all harass. Pawn is insanely far ahead already in this lane.
Yeah, he certainly is, and you can just see how confident he is to continue to throw out the harass. Even shields up a lot of the damage coming through. Zhao, who threw his Q mid-flight of the W, so doesn't get the proc either. A little bit of a misplay there. And Koro actually picking up a blue buff.
Yes, actually. I don't know if that was intentional. I guess it probably is because Clearlove doesn't really need it. And if they're going to keep double jungling, why not give it to Malco?
Yeah, and I like that, especially if you send him back to lane. It means he can get a couple of extra points in his saplings as well and push out that way. Of course, Maokai always had great wave clear. It's just that people would now choose to max the Q for the persistent disruptive damage in the lane and being able to stack that passive. But it's going to mean they completely fly through the jungle together.
Yeah, and they're already done here. Koro's going to go back, maybe teleport to his lane. Gamtee are actually on the Dragon right now, so that's a very intelligent adaptation, knowing that, you know what, we've got plenty of people down here. We can afford to take a very quick Dragon.
Yeah, it certainly does mean that they get a incredibly early Dragon. 3 minutes 47 it will go down, so everyone will have the timer of that. Does affect the freeze in the bottom lane, and that's what they're doing. They're sending Koro down bottom by himself, actually bringing Lee Sin now with the blue buff to be able to push this lane back out.
Yeah, has a couple wards and even some extra mana from the pot there as well. Smart stuff by EDG. Koro probably pretty happy in this spot.
Yeah, I definitely agree. His lane is still frozen, so they need to give him some help to be able to do that in case he gets dived by Huey, but otherwise, he's going to be completely fine to just continue to throw sapling after sapling, Q it a couple of times, and it'll unfreeze.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, Let Me didn't get any CS at all in the jungle follow, just some soaking experience as well. So Koro, who's already starting to get CS in this wave as well, pretty far ahead early on of this Hecarim.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Hecarim going to go back to lane by himself. I don't think he can. Let Me's at a very bad position because there's no camps for him to take, and that is hard frozen with a Thresh in the lane.
Yeah, and we've seen just how much Clearlove loves to tower it up. People, he's so good at engineering dives. A level 2 Hecarim without flash, that's an easy gank tug for Clearlove's Lee Sin.
Yeah, it certainly is, and they're already furiously pinging him. He's trying to get up. Might not even be a dive. He can just go over the wall here and wait for the Lee Sin.
Yeah, he's coming in there. Flayback now. The exhaust comes down as well. Q's going to land in there, and Let Me is going to go down. Deft will get the kill.
Yeah, so exactly right. Didn't need to do anything. Wow, Zhao who solos... No, there was a gank.
Yep, Huey did gank in there, but Pawn used both his flash and his cleanse and still died.
Yeah, so managing to get the first blood back. Huey making the most of that. Successful gank in the top lane, so it still will be at 1,000 gold advantage over for EDG, but that's pretty big to be able to once again get Pawn behind.
Yeah, and that's kind of somewhat what we expected. Again, Pawn has good tools in the matchup, but especially when the jungler comes calling Pawn, even with all of those defensive summoners, couldn't get out of it.
Yeah, exactly right. And we see now Hecarim returning to the jungle, trying to do a little bit more jungling by himself. He's died twice already. Let Me has no creep score so far. So Koro indefinitely ahead. Will be able to pick up his first couple of the game here. But he's at the position now where that lane is that hard frozen. He can't go back there. Even with Jarvan, they'll lose 2v2.
No, I mean, even if they push back and he goes back, they'll just dive him again here. They did it before. They'll happily do it again. So Let Me kind of has to split farm with his jungler now, which is super awkward as far as early games go. And we said it, Hecarim really needs that Trinity Force and the tank items, the big bruiser build to get going. And he is so far behind.
And this is the thing that really confuses me when teams do this. They've stuck to the lane swap. They're clearly losing out on it. Just get out of the lane swap. Go back, look for the 2v2, and you can beat them around because you have your teleport still. If they try and swap back, at least you pick up one wave at a time. Then you just get your Graves and Leona to shove out, and they do it so, wow.
Yeah, Thresh moving in there. Clearlove actually going to go sailing in there over on the Lantern. Sick Dream going to be the target. Q does land there for Clearlove, but he doesn't want to chase in. Zhao Hu running there with level 6, little too threatening.
Yeah, definitely it seems to be the case, and they've actually traded Mako around. So finally, Let Me in the top lane, able to push in aggressively, try and break this freeze. Doesn't look like Deft is going to let him. Takes up so much minion damage, but keeps the freeze.
Yeah, and Letme's getting really bullied now by Deft, who's level 5, almost level 6 to Letme's level 3.
Has Ignite. I think he can kill him if he goes now. Nah, doesn't decide to.
Oh, doesn't want to go in there. Level 4 now, though, but Deft trading back and forth. Mako going to walk back in, but Deft actually getting traded on pretty aggressively. Letme, like you mentioned, does have the Ignite.
Yeah, he has the Ignite, and he had the E. Surprised he didn't use it, although now he's in trouble.
Yeah, Lantern moving in. Culling actually coming through as well. Mako just needs to line it up, finds the flare, doesn't even need the death sentence.
And that flay stopped the E being able to go in on Deft there. With the Ignite, it would have been extremely close, but once again, Mako heads up play, getting his AD ahead.
Really nice stuff there, and that's a second kill there for Deft. He's an assist already, and those 3 kills for EDG are all deaths onto Hecarim.
Yeah, and now he's teleporting back top lane, so the Dragon up in 2 minutes. He's not going to be anywhere near the fight. Really keeping Letme down. He's only at 7 CS at the 8-minute mark and nowhere near level 6.
Yeah, thankfully the wave finally pushes in as EDG go back to shop with a duo lane here. Pickaxe and BF sword done for Lucian, so probably moving into contest for this next Dragon Pawn. Level 7 now as also has the ulti available. He's got a Chalice of Harmony actually as his early item, so building in towards an Athenes.
Yeah, it certainly is looking for the Athenes Unholy Grail as we have a huge fight about to break out in the jungle.
Tail actually moving through, but Singtrim gets caught by Twisted Events. Mako going to flay him back. Leona trying to escape. Zenith blades up, but gets kind of hooked there. Very weird interaction, but Deft does get the kill. Now going to charge in onto Xiao, who was Pawn is down here as well, looking maybe for a play, but doesn't have too much left. No flash to try and close the distance, but the Dragon back up in a minute. Tail, does miss, but does get tagged by Clearlove. Great binding there by Pawn. Damage going to move through, and there should be a kill. The Q actually coming on there, I think. Trying to hit right on Pawn, but the ulti gets Tail.
Yeah, so ulti gets Tail. Letme, in the meantime, was able to catch up in CS. Koro uses his teleport to get back into lane, so both top laners now without teleport, so that's going to equal out the map advantage, but 5 kills to 1. EDG just playing the early game beautifully, making sure that they're all together, supporting each other this early in the game, and that was just a missed time invade because they didn't have the teleport.
Yeah, and that Dragon coming back up means that EDG are going to run straight back down there with all their newfound items. Clearlove actually just finished up his Warrior Enchant, so very strong in the early levels here on Lee Sin. And it's going to be a pretty hard contest here for Gamtee. They've got the first, but I don't think they're getting the second.
Yeah, it is an extremely difficult contest, and it's all about Huey and Syncdream not being level 6. They just mean so much more for the Jarvan and the Leona than it ever will for the Thresh. The box is a luxury piece of the Thresh kit. It's never been what it's all about. It's about the flay. It's about the hook. However, Leona, all about that huge AoE CC to be able to proc the Graves ultimate and the buckshot across all of the members.
Yeah, and actually Pawn blue buff here going to clear out waves very efficiently against the LeBlanc, although Xiaohu going to do just fine here as they're pretty even in CS. Clearlove actually in the top lane with Mako of all people, so really trying to keep this Hecarim down.
Yeah, and they're just recognizing that in the 1v1, Koro isn't actually that far ahead anymore because he went down and helped his team, so together they're going to go pick on him.
Yeah, he's going to start in. Letme will use his ulti out immediately. That might prompt Gamtee to go towards the Dragon, but EDG are going to try and take a turret instead.
Their mid laner and jungler is extremely close. They need to be careful here that they don't overcommit.
Yeah, Mako actually maybe caught out of position. Xiaohu's coming through. Letme going to move back in, but Clearlove is now in here with Koro, but Xiaohu does move in there for the damage. Kick moves out there as well. Clearlove gets the first kill onto Letme. Huey going to go down there as well, and Xiaohu can't find the line. Does get the kill onto Mako, but Pawn's rotated in as well. Koro thinking about going back in, and EDG win the skirmish.
And I got to call Huey out there. He left his Cataclysm up for so long, and Xiaohu was there saying, hey, buddy, you want to let me into the fight? Because I can't get anywhere near to do damage. No one was actually in the Cataclysm anymore. Everyone was on the other side. And in the end, it cost Gamtee massive.
Yeah, blue buff steal there as well as Syncdream going to line something up. Pawn will spot them off here, but has to use the binding. Does use it onto Syncdream. Clearlove going to go back in onto Leona. Zenith Blade moving in, but Clearlove body blocking a little as well. Syncdream looking to go down. Clearlove going to line it up at the E. We'll get it for Pawn. Safeguard there as Pawn flashes over. Clearlove stays on the right side with Xiaohu. Binding nails the LeBlanc in the end there as well. Force the flash, and she'll live, but it's close.
Yeah, very close, and now the push comes through. All the wave clear. Going to be absolutely fine in the mid lane, and you can see Deft even bullying around the Graves in the bottom lane. Ultimate comes through, misses.
Nice attempt there for Pawn, but Xiaohu already safe at home.
Yeah, so able to get back to base, and Koro now with the double buffs, 1, 0, and 3. I always love talking about Maokai's auto attacks. They're going to be pretty painful.
They're real painful. Here is EDG will get themselves their first dragon of the game, equaling the objective there with Gamtee. Deft, like you mentioned, bullying a little bit there as well. It makes sense he's up a pickaxe here in that 1v1.
Yeah, it certainly does, and he's able to weave auto attacks that much more efficiently. We always call Graves poor man Lucian. He was evened out a little bit with the nerfs that came through, but still showing that Lucian is winning the matchup.
Yeah, I think in extended trades, Lucian, that passive is just so good.
Yeah, it certainly is, and especially the cooldown on his spells a little bit lower, although Tail sends out the ultimate in the bottom lane, tries to force him back.
Yeah, actually the Culling going to get traded there as well. Sync Dream will tank up the shots, so EDG, no Dragon to fight first, so just trying to get some farm down here. Tail is quite low, but Sync Dream threatening now with the ulti.
Yeah, so Sync Dream has the ulti, has the ignite, real kill potential in this lane that will actually send Graves back.
Yeah, Tail going to go home there. Def will keep farming. Tail might have a next item to pick up. Feels like he can't fight that well. Does get his pickaxe, but Lucian has to be pretty close to his IE now.
Yeah, he certainly would be extremely close. 3-0 and 1, 1,420 gold.
I believe he's good to go.
Yeah.
My maths is really bad. We've already discovered this evening. Yours apparently not on font tonight either, but Def will keep pushing in. Makes sense to keep pressing the advantage.
Yeah, he might even be able to grab the turret on the next wave if he really does want to do it. And look how he weaves auto attacks. Watching good Lucian players is always a joy.
Yeah, I mean, we comment Uzi for his Lucian play for sure. He's a fantastic Lucian, but Deft is not far behind Def at all.
Yeah, exactly right. And we're just seeing that all these guys dusting off their Lucian. They didn't look sloppy, but there's a certain crispness when you play a champion repetitively in competitive play. And you're seeing that they're really starting to play it to the highest level again. And the Infinity Edge has been finished up in this matchup, so he's going to be a long way ahead. That Light Slinger passive, if he manages to get some crits, going to be doing work.
Mako trying to line up a hook there as well. Got his Moby boots before a Sightstone actually, so getting aggressive with the roam pawn. Posturing here in the mid, sorry, does have his blasting on plus and Athene's versus Zhao, who's double door into Merlin Omicron. So pretty volatile there in the mid lane as almost always. And Sync Dream might be diving onto Def.
Yeah, it certainly looks like that was the case, but Deft with a fantastic read, just backing away, not wanting to go anywhere near the grave, still respecting the burst damage, avoiding the gank. First turret will go down to Gamtee, but they're still at a 2,000 gold disadvantage.
And Clearlove coming back. Let me forced to use his devastating charge away. Had his ulti if he needed it, but Hecarim just can't go anywhere near a lane if the jungler joins in.
Yeah, exactly right. And Clearlove, he's doing respectable damage himself with that warrior enchant. Let me, very stubborn, going towards the Trinity Force as a first item pickup, even at 0-4 and 1, 25 CS down. They're going to leave the turret up. This is Season 2 strat pastry time.
Yep.
Lane losing. Don't let him go back there.
Yeah, keep denying there as Pawn does get knocked up by Huey's flag and drag. Zhao going to dive in. Cataclysm going to keep him trapped. Does ulti there, but actually gets cancelled as Zhao who gets the kill.
Yeah, so able to pick up another kill in the mid lane. 3-0 and 0. Zhao, who is losing out on CS. There's been a lot of attention around there, but they might be able to pick up the turret. Nice hook.
Yeah, onto Huey. Actually, the box being used as well. Going to right Clearlove in. The kick going to be massive here. Potentially Huey going to get kicked for the kill, but now Clearlove in trouble. We'll take the Lantern out. The teleport coming through for Koro now as well. Actually cancels it, just threatens it, and Let Me in the top side might have actually cancelled it with his E.
Yeah, so Let Me did cancel it with his E on the top side. Didn't even have to use the ultimate, so heads up play there. But Zhao, not having cooldowns available, but he able to go for that turret dive at the start of it, really cost his team because they wanted to go aggressive. They had the Leona Graves combo, but once again, an on-point exhaust just meant that it wasn't enough.
And Pawn has been doing some things with his item build. Actually has double blasting on now. Just wants all the cost and efficient AP as soon as he possibly can get it.
Yeah, exactly right. Just looking for all the wave clear as we see. Actually, Zhao, who now going extremely low, needs to be careful against Def, not really respecting the Infinity Edge coming through. Yeah. And Pawn probably going to ult him again.
Yeah, Def actually going to ult him instead, and Pawn might line it up. Can he find a kill? Looking for a bit of vision. Doesn't quite get him. Ulti. Pawn not going to use it. Doesn't want to have to guess. They'll push instead. Finally uses it, but Xiaohu's already gone.
Yeah, Xiaohu had actually left, and they think he's back in base now, I believe, but he's looking for the flank. They might go, ooh.
That was a really nice mind game by Xiaohu, actually, but Def going to get flash chewed on. Now Xiaohu dives in, and Def's like, what are you doing here? Gets out of the way. Slowed by the ulti, though, but the Lantern will get him to safety. Pawn now could be in trouble, but stops the pony in his tracks with a light binding.
Yeah, and you got to think that Let Me's getting a little bit frustrated now. He pulled the trigger very early on that teleport, was in an inopportune position if you're going to be completely honest, and running head-on into a control mage like Lux, I don't actually know what he expected the outcome to be.
Well, it was the expected outcome, which was the light binding to the face, stopping any further pressure. EDG still moving in for this turret as well. Done a lot of damage to it already, mainly with Deft rotating in there and just cleaning out where he can. Will move back down to the mid lane, though, Will Lucian, and cleared up a pretty big wave that started to stack up.
Yeah, so I was looking at the CS and I was like, wow, they've actually done a fantastic job, but Deft just goes into the bottom lane, clears out an absolute massive wave. He's going to be nearly back to equal, pushing on that turret now. 3 members down there. You can see that is what they're posturing for. And in the mid lane, Pawn just used his ultimate, cleared out the wave, and he's like, all right, I'm going back to shop.
Yeah, he's level 11, needs a bit of mana, I guess, with all the blasting horns not providing enough mana regen. And EDG setting something up here in the tri-bush. They're hoping somebody works an alt tail. Q's over, does just get out of the quick draw. Oh my god, that was sick.
Yeah, that was a great prediction coming through from Mego, understanding exactly where it was going to be. In the mid lane, Pawn might die.
Getting jumped on there, actually. Xiaohu moving in. Q, flash Q that gets the kill, but Koro's in the mix now on top of Xiaohu. Actually, flash arcane smashes Huey, but he gets out of the way.
Raptors.
Dies to the Raptors, though.
So strong pastry time.
So good.
They give me nightmares sometimes.
We've seen many a good jungler die to the Raptors here. Is EDG gonna pressure in for the mid lane now as well?
Then what hope did I have? As Xiaohu getting soloed out by Clearlove nearly.
Yeah, Clearlove getting aggressive, can kind of afford it, has the Satsun and the Warrior, so very mobile, does a lot of good damage early on, and EDG culling them off the turret and take it away.
Yeah, so able to pick up the last outer turret of the game. They're at a huge advantage already, 5,000 golden. This is what we've come to expect from Clearlove's Lee Sin. Control over every portion of the map.
And that's the thing, I wonder when the day will come when Clearlove's Lee Sin will eat a ban. What world is that spawn?
I just don't know how it doesn't. He's so good.
I think the thing is, he doesn't play it that often. Remember, I think he's had less than 10 Lee Sin games at this point. We'll talk about Lee Sin in a second. Let's watch this again.
Yeah, so it was just great understanding of exactly how Tail was going to get there, and you see all the damage coming through from Deft. Clearlove the beneficiary of that, but that's just good team. Wow.
Yep, Tail's in trouble now. No tower to run to. Gets kicked there for the mini stun. Moved in there. The exhaust down is up. Pawn really wanted the kill, but it will go to Clearlove.
And that was just everyone stacking in. It's now just EDG once again having fun with the game, showing their team play coming through right now, and just, I guess, trying to get it every single bit of advantage psychologically on the map. This is the thing that impresses me so much about EDG, is I would be scared to play them.
Well, me too, because they're very good.
But it's they've wow.
Pawn getting dove there now. So Xiao actually deletes him off the map, so a good kill there. And then LeBlanc getting stronger.
Yeah, LeBlanc extremely fed at this point, but the tank's also getting going on EDG's lineup, so probably running out of targets to assassinate. The thing about EDG is they're so intimidating as a team, so everyone's going to go in. There's no clear strategy. They're not a snake where you're like, okay, their pick ban phase has been very questionable. We know they have weaknesses in champion pool. They're not an OMG where you see OMG after some games look outright distraught at the fact of how they played. Uzi especially, head in hands a lot of the time. These guys just look on point as Deft might get, ooh, good intuition there. Nice ward bait coming through. And yeah, they just look so on point every single time they play. They play together. They play a fun style of League of Legends as well, so you have to expect morale extremely high. It's them and Vici Gaming really for me at the moment. That Vici recently have looked fantastic, but EDG the whole way around have just looked great.
Yeah, and I think it's not just the play, which I guess is what you're alluding to, because there are a lot of good teams in the LPL. EDG, probably the best at this point, given that they're sitting atop of the standings. So, you know, the best team in China, probably a fair title for EDG, but it's the intangibles that are really hard to define that make them so strong.
Yeah, exactly right, as we see Xiaohu going aggressive.
Mako tried to flame out of the distortion. That would have been sick, but Xiaohu is going to get away to safety. But LeBlanc, like you said, running out of good places to try and kill people.
Yeah, it certainly is, and everyone else around the map is just getting so strong. Top lane, Koro, absolute monster at the moment, 2-0 and 3. We see a little bit of farming going on in the bottom lane with Pawn just throwing out the ultimate whenever he wants. Def nearly has that Phantom Dancer coming through, so he's going to be exactly where he wants to be at about 22 minutes into the game. And from here, EDG, once again, they're just going to control objectives, push down turrets and team fights so well.
Yeah, they've got the 2 dragons. They're going to look for the next one. It comes up here. Baron's also spawned, but I don't think either team are going to look at that for a couple minutes at least. Hecarim does have his Trinity Force, so let me finally on the path to doing good things, but does need to get quite a bit tankier here over on the side of Gamtee. Need to see Large Rod done for LeBlanc as well, who is having a good game, but Huey might be at risk of getting hooked here, and Mako still keeping wards down, but Gamtee got a good defensive pink ward there in that brush.
Yeah, they certainly do, and that's the side of the brush you want to place your pink ward on. Make sure it's as far away as possible so they have to walk up and do that risky business as, wow, Mako, good jukes.
Yeah, mobility boots coming up big there, just able to step out of the solar flare.
Yeah, so now they'll be able to trade all the vision back in their favor, so in the end, EDG win the mind game. They're looking super impressive as always, and I really do love watching this team move around the map. Koro split pushing in the bottom lane. Clear Love and Mako running interference for him. They're going to look to get some damage down on the turret, and there's not many answers left.
Deft, though, does get ulted. Pawn going to try and protect him. Good flash heal out from Deft, saving it till just the last second. But Pawn now might be in trouble. Culling going to try and keep LeBlanc off, and Zhao, who does back away. Pawn going to look to go back in. Has the ulti to threaten Mako. Rotating through as well. Going to try and find a hook. Binding will miss there as Zhao, who distorts out of it. And that's not enough there. And Deft, as always, using those summoner spells at just the last second.
And I think that was one of the best mind games I've ever seen. Pawn swept the brush to deny vision of his binding going over because he knew there was a ward in there. Just complete understanding of how these skill shot champions should be played, and really is starting to impress on anything he touches.
And look, Pawn and Deft might be the most improved Korean players since moving to China. There's a lot of superstar names here. We look through almost any team in the LPL, and you'll see amazing Korean player after amazing Korean player. You know, Pawn's a great player, he's a world champion. Deft is a world semi-finalist at this point. Both fantastic-looking players, but I feel like being on this team and playing in China have somehow made great players into, I don't know what's after that, better players.
Yeah,
legendary players almost.
Yeah, I really have to agree with you. The other player that comes to mind is Spirit when you round them out. To me, they're the three most impressive Koreans so far, especially if you look at the other tier. There's been other Koreans that have impressed me for completely different reasons coming in here. As you look at... are they going to face check this at this point?
I don't think they want to face check it, but Maker's been pretty on point with the hook. Sync Dream will manage to dodge out of it. And a couple of skill shots go wide as they'll clear out the vision.
Yeah, so you talk about players like Mystic, who's come in and relatively unknown, and he's made a huge impact already, I guess, shoring up the position in Team Wii, as well as the likes of Raphael that came in, and they're doing terrific things for their team. But
Beast and Ella.
Yeah, Beast and Ella, another two that you have to mention when you go to it. But then there's just this upper tier of Korean players, the superstars, and they really are beginning to shine. Don't get me wrong, a lot of Chinese superstars doing the exact same thing. That man on screen, Clear Love, definitely having a very stellar season in his own right.
I don't know how he keeps winning on Lee Sin, but this looks like another Lee Sin win. Still Zhao going to try and make a game of it here, and doing well on the LeBlanc. Does not get hooked that time, but we'll just get out to safety here. So we do see actually no trouble there, unfortunately, coming through. Did get hooked there by Mako. The box landed through as well. And EDG with the pick and a look for the Dragon.
Yeah, and Mako just been completely on point this game. Was able to nail that one, and they've zoned out the back of the pit. Ooh, Clear Love gets the tag. All of a sudden, Tail wants nothing to do with that wall.
Immediately gets out hooked, though, his Tail as Mako rides over. Pawn comes in. Can't get the slope of the ulti. Good dodge there by Tail, but he's a little too far forward. Now, Koro flashes, moves over with the Righteous Glory after the teleport. And Tail, they really want him dead. He can't juke the last light binding, and Pawn gets the kill. Now, Deft running in onto the Heck Room, just trying to solo him, but EDG gonna get the red buff instead.
So they grab the red buff. They grab another Dragon. They're so far ahead in every category. Look across the items. 2 finished up for Deft. He's gone the expensive version. Grab that Phantom Dancer. You see in the top lane, Koro. He's 2 completed items against just a Trinity Force. Coming through with a 2,000 gold advantage, I think that just was. That's massive. And just looks like Gamtee have finally run out of answers.
Yeah, I mean, EDG now on top of the Baron at 25 minutes. Just kind of daring Gamtee to come and fight them. EDG might even just take it away here. The Baron damage pretty high at this point as Death ripping through it, although taking a little bit longer than they'd like it. Koro going to use the ulti, and EDG might just disengage. Pawn actually has no mana here, so Death has to juke out there. Let me, though, just gets destroyed there, but LeBlanc dives in, gets the kill onto Pawn. The Baron still doing good damage, but Huey traps his team there in the pit. Xiaohu, though, continuing to do damage. The carries the dead here for EDG. Clear Love gets the next kill, somehow still alive. Now Koro going to run in, looks to go down here to Xiaohu. Tail, though, has found Clear Love. He finally dies, which will ruin the beautiful Lee Sin KDA a bit. And Gamtee get an ace.
Yeah, able to get an ace. Will they start up the Baron? They do. Huey smiting it first, trying to get the second round through it. That team fight was all on Xiaohu. We said maybe they're getting too tanky. Is it going to be too late? 7-1-2 on the LeBlanc. He's certainly doing a good effort of trying to carry this game.
Yeah, assassinates Pawn and Death there in the LeBlanc. We've talked about Xiaohu being such a good-looking player. The ulti used by Tail. The second smite was forced out by Huey, but Gamtee get what they want. They take the Baron.
They take the Baron. They peg back the gold within 3,000 now, and all of a sudden they have a very clear way of being able to stop the pushes that are coming through.
Yeah, and Deft. So Pawn and Deft, kind of a silly thing that they didn't spend their gold. Pawn has now got his Rabadons, but had double blasting one. Need to see large rod for quite a long time. EDG, I guess, probably had a bit of money banked up there, which I think you mentioned earlier, and Gamtee took full advantage of it.
Yeah, they certainly did. They just understood where they were going to be on the map, and you're exactly right. EDG just forced a little bit too hard. Definitely still ahead in the game, but you have to think as we take a look at the replay, this was an outright force. Everyone corralled into the Baron pit, and look how much damage came through from Zhao, who didn't even land the full combo, I don't believe, with the chain missing.
It hit the Baron.
And then from here, he just continued to dive in. Tail, he was dead. He's come from the back and just solos out Clearlove, who is definitely not happy about dying because of the KDA, but you just see Koro, as tanky as you are, buddy, not going to survive 4 people.
No, and Clearlove here. KDA now in ruins. There's actually another fight's going to break up. Koro has dove in onto Xiao. They really want the block and do get it as Huey now under fire as Def's just launching bullets into his back. Culling is going to get popped, and that's a second kill for EDG. Koro still wants more. Clearlove might be lining up a skill shot here, but everyone else is far away, and EDG, they'll start to push offensively.
And this is the thing, I don't know whether Huey thought the game was over so he could just build for fun, but he's got Brutalizer, Hex Drinker, Warrior Enchant, and only just picked up a Giant's Belt.
I mean, maybe he really needs to kill Def. I'm not sure, but that is a very aggressive jungle Jarvan build.
Yeah, it's a really strange jungle Jarvan build coming through there. Going to do a lot of damage in his combo, you have to think, if he is able to nail someone. But against the flow, against the Baron, EDG still able to win a team fight, pick up a turret.
Yeah, good turret there being picked up. Big stack of blue minions, sorry, in the bottom side there for Gamtee. Pawn actually going to get ulti there by Let Me. Devastating charges on Tail with the ulti. Let Me clean out the kill.
Yeah, and that was huge burst damage coming through from the Hecarim, augmented well by the collateral damage, and they'll be able to push up this mid lane. Nearly the trifecta of items finished up for Tail, and with the Baroned up minions, they might be able to take a turret in response.
Yeah, good amount of sidewave control just generally here for Gamtee, and that tier 2 turret will melt to all of the damage coming up for Gamtee. Yeah, they are. Why not keep pushing? They've got a good edge here with Pawn still there for 10 seconds. Xiao does massive damage there to Deft on the back, and they've broken the base.
Yeah, they're in there. They're going to look for the inhibitor.
Deft now going to try and put damage out. Let Me going to get jumped on there. Damage going to move in, but Jarvan in the back just jumps straight on. Deft somehow lives. As face of the mountain shield will keep him alive, but now Mako going to die down. Pawn is back though, uses his ulti for a bit of burst damage, but Gamtee get the inhib.
Yeah, they get the inhib. They trade 1-for-1 the jungler for Mako. And you saw how much damage Jarvan did there. Maybe I'll take it back. Coupled with the solar flare, he might be able to solo out Deft.
I mean, if you have to kill the few threats that are actually on EDG, why not go glass cannon at this point? You kind of have to get, I don't want to say lucky to win, but you have to take some risks, and it's a risk that Huey's willing to take.
Yeah, it definitely looks to be the case as we see the teleport coming through.
Big long fight here is Clearlove now going to look for someone else. Xiao actually getting caught up there by Pawn and Deft will claim that next kill on his Lucian. Dragon up in 50 seconds, but EDG looking to push now.
Yeah, got to commend Xiao on exactly what he did there. He was going to get caught out much too close for his team, so he went back to his distortion, died a little bit further away. It's not great to die, but maybe it will save his base.
I mean, Baron buff's still up, I believe, for Gamtee, so should be able to push back these waves reasonably well. Have to be careful of binding or Pawn. At this point, if he confirms a binding, probably going to get a kill.
Yeah, it definitely looks to be the case. Solar Flare.
Yeah, moves very nicely onto Pawn. Koro diving straight into the back, though. Clearlove actually wants the tower and does get it, so they've re-broken the base now of EDG. Koro still alive as the face of the mountain comes through. Pawn snipes Sick Dream there and does massive damage with the ulti, and EDG take a counter inhibitor.
Yeah, so that
hook there. Now the box down is like Huey going to get shredded in his glass cannon build. Does good damage to Pawn, but that's 2 kills for 0 and an inhib for EDG. Xiao going nuts, but Def just puts him down. Teleport coming through for Let Me, but he home guards straight the other way from EDG. That was a pretty funny teleport.
That was a very funny teleport. That was an even funnier flash distortion into getting kicked by Clearlove and dying in the kick animation.
Ada binding there as well, I think. But yeah, just too much burst damage for EDG. A 4th dragon will be theirs now, and that 6-minute timer. Gamtee still behind already here, about 5,000-6,000 gold, but that 5th dragon going to put another timer, this time 6 minutes.
Yeah, exactly right. And Gamtee, they looked like they had just fought back, got everything they wanted. The death of Xiao, who didn't help on the way out, but the 4 deaths they gave up after that, completely thrown them behind in this game again. Need to regroup. They've shown that it's definitely possible if they control sight around the map, that just looks like EDG very strong at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, made a bit of a misstep, certainly, pushing too aggressively, but I think Gamtee, after winning the big fight, didn't respect that EDG still have a lead here in this game despite all that, and got a little too careless, I guess, and got themselves caught out. So kind of weird to have a game where both mid inhibitors are dead, but Baron's going to be back up soon as well in a minute 40, and teams are going to have to look to fight. EDG with the advantage, you have to give them the favorite for that fight, but Gamtee have already shown plenty of strength.
Yeah, and this is exactly what Gamtee are trying to do. Control vision, set up picks, The one thing about League of Legends that is very much underutilized is all you have to do is win one team fight at 35 minutes. With an inhibitor down, if you win a team fight at 35 minutes, chances are you're going to be able to push into the base. So they just throw the Hail Mary here. They're not behind, but in terms of where EDG's team comp is, Koro is much too tanky in an actual 5v5. So they need to catch them out somehow, deny vision around these chokes here where they're walking through and try and get the pick.
I mean, the other thing is that every pick, even if it's a trade, buys them time. And certainly Let Me needs a lot of time on this hack room because he's not nearly tanky enough for Gamtee to be forcing 5v5s. But EDG rotating intelligently. Gamtee will give up this last outer turret here. So 6 turrets apiece, actually quite a few. I mean, Gamtee still looking for a pick here, but they'll play it safe.
Yeah, still looking to play it safe. Wave clearing through. Graves actually going for a Blade of the Ruined King as his 4th item. That's very strange. Not an item we see normally out of Graves. And Sync Drain might have been caught. Yeah,
actually does get flayed back and initiates very aggressively onto Clearlove. Let Me dives in there with the ultimate death. Actually takes a massive chunk of damage, but Clearlove peels him off there. Mako gets low but doesn't die. Let Me now getting cold as he'll go down to Clearlove again. Koro dives in onto the next target as Graves goes down. Leona soon to follow there as Lucian gets a triple kill, and Xiaohu, the only one left alive, being chased down by Clearlove, but EDG just going to storm into the castle.
Yeah, it certainly looks like they're looking to finish this one off as soon as possible. They were just much too tanky. Right idea coming through from Gamtee, but they needed to have maybe one member straggling behind. And EDG looking to take another 2-0 clean series.
Yeah, massive damage here. Xiaohu going to try and pick somebody off. Gets good damage onto Clearlove, who probably at this point wants to protect his KDA more than anything else. So EDG will have to leave. Death time is still quite short. But Def will clean out a couple extra minions, and EDG will leave and look for their next objective.
Yeah, so it looks like they're going to back up.
Xiaohu gets caught. Def snipes him with Night Blaze and Pawn. Light Binding's on point.
Yeah, definitely. It was just a little bit of a walking forward into a control mage. It's something that you don't have to play against normally. These mages that have the long-range stuns that can come through and can snipe away blue buffs from Def, who I'm sure really would have appreciated to be left that one, thanks Pawn, but they're just different to play. They control vision very well and do a truckload of damage late game.
Now, EDG, a little dangerous potentially starting this Baron. Haven't spent some of the gold that they've just gotten, but are fairly far ahead. 10,000 gold, in fact, so feel relatively confident here. The Baron actually dropping way too low. Ulti going to come in. Sync Dream, can he steal it? He's going to move in. Uses the ultimate. Clearlove smites it away. Huey now going to dive into the back. LeBlanc still dead in the base there as Huey is going to go down there. 2 kills there. Colin going to come through as well. EDG can probably just charge again. In fact, Koro already teleporting, going to try and catch someone out.
Yeah, can you believe it? Def has 4,000 gold nearly or something ridiculous. 3,500.
Let Me dead there as well. Clearlove going to get that kill. Xiao just evaporates there as he dives in for the damage. Tail going to go down there as well. Clearlove sends him a nice ultimate to the face. And GT have to give it up. They'll surrender knowing that they're pretty much dead after that point. And EDG, another beautiful 2-0.
Yeah, so another 2-0 coming through from EDG. We mentioned that their lead gets stupidly big from here, and they definitely have look to secure the #1 spot. I don't know if OMG can catch them.
I don't know if we're in mathematically impossible territory yet, but 45 points now for EDG at first. Just to remind you, OMG, I think we're at 32?
Yep.
34. They were 8 points behind the start of the day.
Okay.
Not very many points is how many they have compared to EDG, who just have far too many.
Yeah, EDG just going absolutely nuts, and you have to say it's once again through their star AD carry. Jungler still being held down very well by Clearlove in that game, but Deft is going crazy at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, look, another great leasing game for Clearlove. Again, we keep joking about it, but we're probably going to find a ban eventually. Very scary looking, still undefeated, but Deft. What more to say about that, man? He is so good.
Yeah, he certainly is. Plays absolutely everything and plays it extremely well.
Well, we've got another game coming up now as well. Don't go too far because World Elite are about to take on Starhorn Royal Club.